Hello brain nerds, my name is Jace and welcome to the Big Brain Busters. So in this video we are going to look at an introduction to Helminthology under our Parasitology series, where we're going to look at the classification of helminths. And in addition, at the end of this video I have added some practice questions that I would like you to attempt and see whether you've understood. With that being said, let's jump into it. So helminthology is just simply the study of helminths, or worms that infect humans and animals, and they belong to the kingdom Animalia and subkingdom Metazoa. Now take note that the term helminth is gotten from a Greek word which is helminths, which just simply means worm, and it was originally used to refer to intestinal worms only, but now today we use it to refer to any other kind of worm, including tissue parasites and other free living species. Now let's look at some of the characteristics of these helminthic parasites. Number one, they are multicellular, which simply means that they are also eukaryotic. Okay, and they are bilaterally symmetrical, which means that when we cut them they are able to produce two equal sides, and they are triploblastic, which just simply means that they contain all germ layers, which are the endoderm, mesoderm and ectoderm. Now let's look at the classifications of helminths. Starting from the kingdom Animalia, we have the subkingdom Metazoa. Under this we have two phyla, which are Platyhelminthes and Nematoda. The Platyhelminthes are also known as flatworms. So I just see flat with plat. Anyways, they rhyme together. Who knows? Maybe that's what they simply mean. So under the Platyhelminthes we have two classes, and then under the Nematoda will only have one class. So we have the Cystoda, which are also known as the tapeworms. Then we have Trematoda, and then under the Nematoda we'll have the Nematoda. Okay, so now let's look at the characteristics of the phylum Platyhelminthes, which are also known as the flatworms. So these guys are tape-like in structure, and they are dorsoventrally flattened worms. That's why they are known as flatworms. And then in terms of the alimentary canal or digestive system, it can be absent in terms of the cystodes, or when it's present it is incomplete, for example lacking an anus in terms of the trematodes. Then they lack a body cavity, and their viscera is suspended in a gelatinous matrix. Okay, then they are mostly hermaphrodites, or they are monoecious organisms. What do we say so? Monoecious organisms have their reproductive organs, both male and female, on one organism. That is what it means to be a hermaphrodite or monoecious organism. Then they have suckers, all right, the suckers that they use to suck things. I mean, the name tells itself. Then the phylum Platyhelminthes contains two classes, which are class Cystoda and class Trematoda, and we are going to look at them one by one. Starting with the class Cystoda, these guys have a tape-like structure with a dorsoventrally flattened body. As you can see from my diagram, this guy literally looks like a tape measure, all right? And when you look at their bodies, they are segmented. So these segments, as you can see all over their bodies, are known as proglottids. We are going to talk about that later on. Then, as we said during description of their phylum, they do not have an alimentary canal. Then their head carries suckers, and on those suckers some have got hooks and some do not have hooks. As you can see here, these are the suckers around the head. The head is known as the scolex, and then they have a neck and proglottids, which are the segments of the body. All right, then we have already said that they are monoecious, as we had described them, meaning that they contain both both male and female reproductive organs. All right, then their body cavity is simply absent, and they are oviparous. What do we mean by that? It simply means that they have a characteristic of reproduction where they lay eggs. Ovi from ovum, or eggs. So talking of the class Trematoda, these guys have a flat or fleshy leaf-like unsegmented body. So they are flat, that's why they belong to the phylum of flatworms, and they are leaf-like in structure. So as you can see, this structure here looks like a leaf literally, and it is unsegmented, unlike what? The cystodes. Then their alimentary canal is present, but it is rudimentary, meaning that it is incomplete without an anus. Then they possess suckers but not hooks. In this case, unlike cystodes, which have suckers, whereby those suckers, some of them have hooks, for these guys, they have suckers but with completely no hooks. Then their sexes, they are separate in cystosomes, but in other flukes, you find that they are hermaphroditic. Okay. Then they are oviparous, of which from the previous slide we talked of what oviparous organisms are. Okay, so now let's look at the phylum Platyhelminthes under the class Nematoda. So these guys have got an elongated, cylindrical, and segmented body, as you can see on our right side diagram. And their alimentary canal is well developed and it is complete, having an anus. As you can see here on our diagram, they do have an anus and they have a body cavity as well. Then the head does not have suckers or hooks, unlike the Platyhelminthes. Okay, but instead they have a buccal capsule which has teeth or cutting plates. Then in terms of their sex, they are separate. You find you have a male organism and a female organism, so meaning that these nematodes are dioecious. Then when it comes to the mode of reproduction, they are simply oviparous or laviparous, meaning that they can either lay eggs or they can just give birth to live larvae. Okay, so now let's look at some of the practice questions and see whether we've understood. Question 1 reads, digestive tract is completely absent in. To review other options, in trematodes the digestive tract is present but it is incomplete. In B, option B, it reads cystodes, so this is correct, right? Then sexes are always separate in. So when we look at the sexes where they are separate, it is in nematodes. All right. Then question 3 reads, nematodes are differentiated from other worms by the following except. So here it's simply except flat or fleshy leaf-like worm. This is a characteristic of the trematode. Number 4 reads, which of the following statement is true in respect to trematodes? So here when we look at this, dorsoventrally flattened, yes, that's true. Intermediate host is a snail, that's true. Hermaphrodite except schistosomes, this is true. So our option here is D. Alright, so this is where we end our video. I hope you enjoyed, and please do not forget to like, share and subscribe, and also check out our next videos where we're going to look at these helminthes in detail. With that being said, shalom shalom.